Om Shri Sai Ram. Now, since we have started with the kings of Ayodhya, I thought that before we proceed on to King Dashrath and his queens, and then on to Lord Sri Rama and his wonderful sojourn on earth, why not first talk about Ravan, the protagonist? Because no story is complete without the villain. We have to have both good and evil to make the saga fascinating for everyone to hear and to learn something from it. So, when it comes to Ravan, there are a number of stories about the origin of Ravan. How did he come to be Ravan? Why was he born as Ravan? So, as per the Ramcharitmanas, we hear of three distinct versions. One of them, I think I have already told before in the story of Jai and Vijay. The Jai and Vijay, who were the guards of Vaikunt, and they were guarding Vaikunt, Lord Vishnu's abode, the heavenly abode, apart from the ocean of milk, the Kshir Sagar. And there Jai and Vijay were cursed by the four Kumaras. The four Kumaras being Sanat, Sanat Kumar, Sanak, Sanandan, and Sanatan. So these four sages had cursed them to leave their post in Vaikunt and to be born on earth as demons and to be as far away from God as they were preventing the other devotees from reaching God. Actually, the sages had not cursed them to become demons, they had just told them to take a birth on earth and to stay far away from the Lord. But when the Lord told them that if you become my devotees, you will have to be born at least 7 times, because my devotees don't think of me that often as my enemies think of me. Then, because they were so devoted to the Lord's lotus feet, they preferred to become the Lord's enemies. And the compassionate Lord promised that he would come down on earth himself and redeem them, that he would take an avatara. So because of this, both Jai and Vijay, they first came down as Hiranyaksh and Hiranyakashipu, and Lord Vishnu came down to slay them as the Narsimha avatar and the other one, the Varaha avatar. Now, after this, again, when came Treta Yuga, they were slated to be born as Ravan and Kumbhakarn. So this is one story that we already know of, that this is how Ravan came to be born. And as per the Ramcharitmanas, there are 2 more stories. So I'm going to tell these 2 today. One of them is the story that when there was a demon named Jalandhar, and Jalandhar was like really evil, and he was torturing everyone around him. Because his wife Vrinda was a devotee of Lord Vishnu, and she was a very, very pious woman, very gentle, very good hearted, and very devoted both to her husband and to Lord Vishnu. And it was because of her austerity, because of her tapas, that no one could defeat Jalandhar. As per the story, they say that Lord Vishnu ultimately he helped Lord Shiva. He helped Lord Shiva kill Jalandhar, and as because of this, Vrinda cursed him, his own devotee cursed him, and the Lord came down again, once again, bearing that curse gladly, and that Jalandhar was born as Ravan. This is one story, but that is for some other time. Now, the third story is that once even Narad Muni, who was always devoted to the Lord's lotus feet, who was always singing, glories of the Lord and doing constant Nam Japa, even he cursed Bhagwan Vishnu once. And because of Narad Muni's curse, Bhagwan Sri Vishnu, he had to come down on earth as a mortal, as a human being. And because of that, Ravan also had to come. So when I heard all these stories, and when I was a child, I used to be intrigued why there are so many versions. Some versions talk about Jai and Vijay, some talk about Jalandhar, then yet another story says that these two were Shiva's attendants and by Narad Muni's curse they came to be Ravan and Kumbhakarn. So which is the real version? And I thought maybe, that stories just got mixed up and maybe that's that. But then later on I understood that we have a very fascinating concept of time in our Sanatan Dharma, and things are very precisely laid out in our scriptures. Like for instance, they say, for instance, that an instant of time is a nimish, and 15 nimish they make up one kasht. Then 30 kashtas will make up one kal. 30 kalas will make one muhurat. 30 muhurats in one day. 30 days will make one mass or 1 month. Then 6 months will make one ayan. And 2 ayans make 1 year. So we have Uttarayan and we have Dakshinayan. So while one Uttarayan and one Dakshinayan is 365 days or 1 year for us, it is only 1 day and 1 night for the celestials. So what is 1 year for us is 1 day for the celestials. That is how they have described. And then again they go on and explain that in the sacred land of Bharat, in this Bharat Bhumi, there have been 4 yugas as classified. The most pristine, beautiful and pure yuga is the Krit Yuga. The Krit Yuga is very pure and it is 4,800 divine years long. Now one divine year is equal to 365 human years, as they say. So the pristine Krit is 4,800, then the less perfect, Treta, that is 3,600. Then Dwapar is almost half corrupt, and that is 2,400 divine years. And then comes the almost entirely evil Kali, and that is 1,200 divine years. And 4 of these yugas together they constitute a Chatur Yuga. So one Chatur Yuga is 12,000 divine years, is equal to 12,000 into 365 human years. So that much is the duration of one Chatur Yuga. Now, when there are 71 Chatur Yugas, these 71 Chatur Yugas, they constitute one Manvantar. Now that's a pretty long time. And when there are 14 of such Manvantars, they cause one Kalp. One Kalp is 1 day of Brahma. And one Kalp also means 1,000 Chatur Yugas. So that's a pretty long time. And as per the scriptures, in all these Kalpas, the stories are different. In some Kalpa, it is Jalandhar who comes as Ravan. In some other Kalpa, it is Jai and Vijay who come down. And yet, in some other Kalpa, it is Shiva's Ganas who come as Ravan because of Narad Muni's curse. So now let's go on and find out why did Narad Muni curse Lord Shiva's Ganas. So as per the story goes that in the Himalayan region, with its natural beauty and the pure, beautiful flowing Ganga, there was a lovely cave. And once Narad Muni chanced there, and the scene was so tranquil and so pure and so beautiful that his mind was immersed completely in the Lord's lotus feet, Lord Vishnu's lotus feet. And because he was so completely absorbed in the Lord's feet that he sat down there and meditated. Now we always hear of munis and rishis, meditating. So what's so rare about this, or what's so unusual? They do it all the time, don't they? But in Narad Muni's case, it's different because his brother Daksh had cursed him. Daksh had put a curse upon Narad Muni that you will not be able to stay at one place, that you will have to yonder here and there, wander, keep wandering. Don't stay in one place. That is my curse upon you. Because Narad Muni had sent Daksha's sons, all of them, to find out how big was the universe. Narad Muni had known that the universe is vast and it's expanding. There is no end to it. And he had sent those sons of Daksha on this journey from which they did not return because they were still sightseeing. The sightseeing was prolonged. But Daksh got furious with Narad Muni and he had cursed him that you will also not rest in one place. The way you have sent my sons on a journey, you will also be traveling all through your life. You won't rest in one place. And Narad Muni had accepted that curse. But now, suddenly that curse was broken. The power of that curse was broken because Narad Muni's mind was just completely, deeply absorbed in the Lord's lotus feet. And he sat down and meditated. And his meditation was so pure and so strong and so intense that Indra, up in Amravati, the king of the gods, he again got worried. Now, Indra is usually getting worried whenever anybody meditates. He does not like it. And he got worried when Narad Muni was meditating and he decided, oh no, something has to be done about it. And so what better than to send Kamdev? And so he called for the god of love, Kamdev, to come there. And when Kamdev came, Indra told him, you have to go and you have to corrupt Narad Muni's mind. So go with your entire force and do that. So Kamdev bowed to Lord Indra, and he took his retinue. His retinue was his friend Spring, his wife Rati, all the Apsaras, and some of the Gandharvas for the music. And once he went to the Himalayas, it was like he had a magic wand with him. And once he just, like turned at once, the entire Himalayan scenery was changed. It was as if spring had come. And there were beautiful flowers and cuckoos and nightingales and gentle breeze, and everything just became beautiful. And then there were the likes of Rambha and Menaka dancing to the tune of the Gandharvas. But all this was going on, and Narad Muni sat still in his meditation. His mind did not waver for even one instant. Kamdev tried all his wiles, the Apsaras did their best, and the celestial music was so heavenly that the gods themselves would have come down to listen to it. But Narad Muni did not open his eyes. He did not even glance at them. And finally, Kamdev accepted his defeat. And then he bowed at Narad Muni's feet and he asked for forgiveness. And he said, "I'm so sorry, my lord. I really should not have done that. I should not have tried to disturb you. Please forgive me. I won't disturb you anymore." At that, Narad Muni gently opened his eyes. And then he told Kamdev very calmly that there was no reason to worry and he was not going to curse him and it was all right. He was just doing his duty. Indra had sent him, and so he was doing his duty. And then he said, "I'm not angry with you and I'm not cursing you, so it's all right." So all was well. Everybody was happy. And then Narad Muni reassured Kamdev, "You can go and reassure Indra. I don't want his throne. I don't want his heaven. I am happy where I am. Remembering my lord, I don't want any exalted position. So tell Indra to relax." So all these gods and Gandharvas and Apsaras, they went back up happily to Indra to report what had happened. And Indra also marveled, and he was also very happy. Now everything was fine. Narad Muni's meditation was over, and he was feeling so much at peace and so happy. He felt so happy that he wanted to share this news with someone. And so, because he was in the Himalayas, he went to meet Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva was there in Mount Kailash with his consort, Mother Gauri. He was there, and Narad went to meet him. Now, Narad was telling all about it, how he found this beautiful spot and how he sat down to meditate and how his mind was absorbed in the lotus feet of the Lord, whom he loved. And then came Kamdev, and then came all the Apsaras, and came the Gandharvas, but nothing could make his mind turn from the lotus feet of the Lord. And he told this very happily to Lord Shiva, that earlier it was only you, Lord Shiva, who had conquered Kamdev. You were the one who did not fall prey to him. In fact, you burned him with one glance from your eye. But now I am also in your company, because I too am not controlled by Kamdev. I have conquered Kamdev. I have conquered lust. So now you and I, we are the same. And he felt so happy as he said this to Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva smiled when he heard this. And then he told Narad Muni very gently, "Narad, you told this to me today. But please, I am telling you, I am warning you, don't ever say this in Lord Vishnu's earshot. Don't ever say this where he can hear you. This is my advice." Narad Muni didn't like this advice one bit. Why? He thought to himself, why shouldn't I tell my Lord? Why shouldn't I tell my Lord Vishnu? Probably Lord Shiva is a little jealous. It happens. Even great people become jealous. When they feel that somebody else has also accomplished something which only they have done. And so Narad Muni took his leave of Lord Shiva and Mother Gauri a little disconsolately. Now he was not so happy. He was still thinking, why did he say that? Why shouldn't I tell? Of course I should tell. And why shouldn't I? Like this, his mind was going on and on. And so then he went to Kshir Sagar, the ocean of milk, where the Lord was reposing on the Anant Sesha with goddess Lakshmi. And there Narad bowed to him, and Lord Vishnu was so delighted to see him, and he said, "Narad, you've come after a long time. Where were you? I missed you. Come, sit with me." And because Lord Vishnu welcomed him so warmly, so sweetly, and so lovingly, Narad Muni felt very happy. And so he sat down. And before long, the story was coming bubbling out of his mouth about what had happened in the Himalayas, how he was meditating, and how Kamdev had tried to disturb him, and how he had conquered Kamdev. Lord Vishnu smiled at that, and he said, "Indeed, Narad, this is some story. I am so happy to hear that. How did this happen? How could you control Kamdev?" So now Narad Muni said, "It is with your grace, my lord." But he said that, but he did not mean it. In his mind, a tree was sprouting. It was the tree of pride. And whenever there is pride, there is no place for love. There can be either love or there can be pride. They say when somebody is very arrogant, they cannot really love gently. And Lord Vishnu knew that because he can see in the hearts of his devotees, and what he saw he didn't like. He understood that Narad is already falling a prey to his pride. This is not done. Lord Vishnu is one who always looks after his devotees. Sometimes he looks after us in ways we don't appreciate when they are happening. It's only later on that we understand that what the Lord did was the best. At the time when what is happening according to his will we might not like, it's only later on we understand. And so this happened with Narad also. Because Narad Muni was becoming so vain and boastful, and how, now he was equal to Lord Shiva, and how great and strong he was, Lord Vishnu said gently, "I see, Narad, I'm very happy for you, and I wish only the best for you." Okay. And with that, the Lord decided to teach him a lesson. So the Lord asked him, I'm sure, Narad, you have been celibate all your life. You didn't get married even when your father Brahma told you. You are the Manas Putra of Brahma, the mind-born son. And Brahma had asked you to get married and to continue with progeny and to populate the earth. And you refused. That no, you don't want to do this. You want to spend your life in contemplation of the absolute reality. So I'm sure there is no one like you, so strong a celibate and so good at heart and so good a devotee. There can be no one like you. And Narad agreed, "Of course, my lord, you are quite right." And Lord Vishnu knew that something has to be done. And so Narad bid his leave. He went away from Kshisagar perfectly happy, wondering, why did Lord Shiva tell me not to tell Lord Vishnu? See, he's so happy when he heard this. He's always happy hearing, of what I have done or what I have experienced. Good, good. Like this he was walking on, very happy. And suddenly, before him he saw the beginning, the outskirts of a city. He wondered, now what is this city? I have been traveling all my life. How come I never chanced upon this city before? But the city was exotic. He walked into it. It was like as beautiful as Amravati, Indra's Amravati, the capital of the Devas. It was as beautiful as that. And the city was like spread out in thousands of miles. It was huge. And the buildings, they were so big. The palaces, so perfect. And the people walking on the roads. My God, when Narad looked at them, he was amazed. The people were so good looking. Every man was like Kamdev and every woman was as if, an epitome of beauty like Rati. Such perfect beings, walking here and there. Everything so beautiful. It was like there was nothing ugly in sight. Narad was amazed. What place is this? And who lives here? And so he walked on. And then he asked some people, who is the ruler of this big city? And he was told that King Shilanidhi rules here. So he made his way to the king's palace to meet the king and find out more about the king. So Narad Muni went to the king's palace, and there King Shilanidhi, when he heard of the great sage's arrival, he was very happy, and he welcomed him and washed his feet and then made him come sit in the court at an elevated throne while he himself sat at his feet and asked him, what has brought you, O great Muni, into this city? And Narad Muni said, I just came here in the course of my travels, nothing more. And the king said, well, I'm very happy that you are here, sir, because I have a daughter, and my daughter is old enough to be married. I would like you to look at her and tell me something about her. And so the king called the princess. The princess was called Vishwamohini. And she was the most beautiful girl that Narad Muni had ever seen. She was more beautiful than even the Apsaras. Even Rambha and Menaka could have been at best her handmaidens. She was so perfectly charming that even Goddess Lakshmi would not stand a chance next to her. Narad Muni was dazzled by her beauty. As he stared at her, he could not believe something so exotic could actually exist. The princess was a little bashful. Narad Muni was looking at her intently. Then the king asked his daughter to show her hand to the Muni so that he could tell her fortune. And so the princess showed her dainty hand to Narad Muni. And when he saw it, he saw, oh my God, the man who marries this girl is so lucky. This man is going to be immortal because her hand says that her husband shall be immortal. And that's not the only thing. He's going to be the ruler of the whole world. And that's not the only thing. He is going to be loved by everyone, both animate and inanimate. What a lucky fellow he would be to get such a wife and then to have, such a good fortune that it is because of her that he would have all these things. And so Narad Muni started busily thinking, what should I do? What should I say? Actually, I want to marry her. But what do I tell the king? The king was waiting expectantly for Narad Muni to say something. And so then the Narad Muni, he fabricated some facts and he just said, oh, all is good, good fortune, all is well and you need not worry. And like this, he made some things up instead of telling the king what was actually in his mind, that he wanted to get married, finally. Now the king said that I have arranged a swayamvar for my daughter where she is going to choose her own husband. And so let's see whom she marries now. I'm very happy that you have come, sir, and with your blessings, I'm sure everything will be fine. Now Narad Muni nodded his head and then he went out of the palace. But he could not get the Princess Vishwa Mohini out of his mind. All he could see was her. His eyes open, he saw her. His eyes closed, he saw her beautiful form. He forgot all about Nam Japa. He forgot all about Lord Vishnu's feet, lotus feet, where he was meditating constantly. And then he thought, but what should I do? I have been meditating for so long. I've become ugly, haven't I? I'm all worn out. I'm so skinny. I don't think I have the kind of glow that she would want in her husband. She is sure to find a beautiful, a handsome prince, somebody very charming and handsome and good looking, that kind of a guy. So what to do? Because I'm an ascetic with my matted hair and, with my asceticism, she is not likely to find me good looking and she's not going to choose me. So how can I make her fall in love with me? So then he thought, I have to be good looking. If I'm good looking, then she will choose me. And so he decided that only Lord Vishnu can help me. But he thought, if I go to Kshirsagar, that's such a long way and I don't know when I will reach there and when I will come back. I'll be even more exhausted in the journey. So let the Lord come to me. I'll pray to him to come to me, that please come here, please come to me and help me. And so he meditated upon Lord Vishnu intently and begged him to come. Lord, please come, please come. And in an instant, the Lord came. Narad Muni was delighted. And he said, oh, Bhagwan, you have come. I'm so happy. And the God said, what do you want, Narad? And Narad said, oh God, I have found the most beautiful girl. There is no one like her. And I really want to marry her. I've fallen in love with her. But I'm afraid she won't choose me. So please give me your form. Please give me your beautiful form, Hari. I want to look like you. Then I'm sure she'll marry me. Vishnuji looked gravely at Narad and said, I will do what is best for you, my dear Narad. Have no doubt. Have no fear. I will only do what is best for you. That is what I always do. So be it. And with this, the Lord blessed him and went away. NaradJi was delighted because now he had obtained Lord Vishnu's form. And Lord Vishnu's form is the most beautiful one, with his eyes like blue lotuses, with his beautiful nose, with his cheeks, his nose so perfect, his, like every part of his body when it is described, it is like the epitome of beauty. So what could be better? And now happily Narad Muni also went to attend the Swayamvar. Two of Lord Shiva's Ganas were also there, and they laughed when they saw the whole thing happening, because what Lord Vishnu had done was that he had not given Narad Muni a beautiful face like his own. He had given him a monkey face. Because one of the meanings of the word Hari is Vanar or monkey. And so the Lord, in a jest, had given him a monkey's face. So the Lord Shiva's Ganas, they were grinning to themselves, and they were, like looking at Narad and then talking to them, to each other, and then, like just waiting. What's going to happen? Is the princess going to choose him? Of course not. Then what's going to happen? So they also followed Narad Muni inside the Swayamvar hall, and there were all the kings and princes who had come from all these lands to come to win the hand of this Princess Vishwamohini. And Narad, he's sitting there and he's waiting for the princess to come. And then finally she comes with that garland in her hand. And she's gliding like a swan. So lightly she's treading the earth as if she's barely walking. It's like she's floating on the air. And Narad Muni is noticing all these things. And every step that she's taking towards him is filling him, with that anticipation and that delight. But the princess came near him, a little near. She took one look at his face and she walked away. She did not even come near him. She floated in another direction, her friends along with her, describing all about the other kings who were sitting there, from which kingdom they had come, what was their name, what was their kul, their vansh, their ancestors, all that. Narad Muni couldn't believe it. Maybe she didn't get to see me properly. Maybe I should get up and go and sit in the row where she is going. Then she will get to see me. And so he got up from his seat and he went to the row where she was now moving. And he tried to, keep appearing between all those kings. And suddenly the princess would be looking at the kings one by one, and suddenly Narad's face would loom in between, a monkey face. And the princess got very disturbed. She didn't want to look at this face, and yet it would keep popping up wherever she looked. Narad Muni was trying his best to let the princess see him, and she was doing her best to ignore him. So it was a difficult situation. And Shivji's Ganas, they couldn't stop giggling. They were so amused at this unusual turn of events where the great Narad Muni had completely lost his heart to a girl, so desperately. So they also followed Narad Muni, giggling all the time and telling him, "Oh, but you are so good looking. Of course she's going to select you," saying such stuff. Of course, Narad Muni didn't know what he looked like, so he thought that they meant it really. How could he know? Finally, Princess Vishwamohini, she saw a king whom she liked. It was a very beautiful face and beautiful form, and she liked that king, and so she placed her garland around that king's neck. She had chosen her husband. Narad Muni couldn't believe it. He was heartbroken. That king married the Princess Vishwamohini and took her away. Narad Muni was so shattered. He couldn't believe it. How can this happen? Lord Vishnu gave me his own form. How could she reject me? Is it possible? Has it really happened? Or am I dreaming? And then Shivji's Ganas, they came up to him and they grinned and said, "Oh, but what a handsome fellow you are, aren't you? Go and take a look at your face. Why don't you do that?" And with that, they laughed and they went away. And Narad Muni, he looked at his face in the water, and then he was stumped. The face that looked back at him was so ugly. He couldn't believe it. Was this a joke? Did Lord Vishnu really think it was funny to play with his feelings in this way? Is that the way you treat your devotees, people who love you? No. Narad Muni was furious. For the first time in his life, he was very angry. What he did not realize was that he was completely under the spell of Lord Vishnu's Maya. Because he had proclaimed to the Lord that I have won over Kamdev, I have conquered Kamdev. And Lord Vishnu, when he had said, "Oh yes, but we all know what a great celibate you are, Narad, aren't you?" And then he had said very proudly that yes, I am. He had been so sure. And so Bhagwan Vishnu had created this entire city with his Maya just for Narad's benefit. The city had not existed there before, but Lord Vishnu's Maya, which was his primordial power, it had created the city in an instant. And the Princess Vishwamohini was no other than Lord Vishnu's Maya, Maya herself, the great enchantress, the one who enchants the whole world. Nobody can escape her, not even Narad. And this was what the whole play was about. And then Lord Vishnu himself had come as the king. And then his Maya had placed her garland around the Lord's neck, and Lord Vishnu had carried her off, his Maya. But Narad Muni didn't know all of this. He was seething with anger. And then as he walked out of the city, he was fuming, and then he saw the two Ganas again. And then he got so angry with them and he said, "How dare you make fun of me? Okay, you like making fun of me? You like mocking me? Fine. I curse you. Go and become demons. Go and live on earth. No longer shall you live with Lord Shiva as his Ganas. You go on earth and you live like demons." Now they apologized and they were like, "Please," but Narad Muni wouldn't listen. He walked away angrily. And those two were, left heartbroken. What a big curse. Narad Muni was not done yet. He was still very angry. And suddenly he saw Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu was standing before him, and there were two women with him. One of them was Rama, Lakshmi, and the other was Vishwamohini, Princess Vishwamohini. Both of them were standing with Lord Vishnu, and they were looking at him so adoringly. Now this really burned up Narad when he saw this sight, and then he told Lord Vishnu, "What a trickster you are! What a deceiver! You are so full of deceit, aren't you? You think you are so smart, and you make others think you are so good, but you are not so good, are you? You are so selfish. People, everybody think that you are so good, and they believe in you, but I know you for what you are. I know your real nature. What a person you are. I asked you for good looks, and this is what you gave me? Just so you could marry the princess yourself, because you coveted her, because you thought that she was not, like I was not good enough for the likes of her, that only you can take all that is good in this world? Why you are so selfish? I really want to know, Vishnu, why you think you are so good that nobody else can be better than you? I know what you have done. When the ocean was being churned, the mighty ocean, at that time there came out the poison, that halahal, the deadly poison which could have killed the whole world. And what did you do with it? You made Lord Shiva swallow it. That is what you did. You gave the poison to Lord Shiva. You gave all the intoxicating liquor to all the demons and the Rakshasas. And you took Goddess Lakshmi for yourself. You took the Kaustubh gem for yourself. So the good things you will keep for yourself, and the bad things you will give to others. That is the kind of person you are. I know you. You are so selfish and you are so deceitful. You should be ashamed of yourself for tricking a devotee like me. I have loved you all my life, and this is how you repay my love? Fine. Now I curse you. I curse you that this form that you have given me, this ugly form, you will have to go and live with such ugly forms. Yes, that is your punishment. Go and live with them. Be with them. That's what you deserve. Now, Lord Vishnu didn't say anything. He just accepted Narad's curse like this without saying a word. But Narad was still not done. And he said, "And the way I am being tortured because I did not get my love. I wanted to marry this princess and you took her away from me. So, like me, you will also have to suffer the pangs of separation from your wife, whom you would love so much that you could not even breathe without her. I curse you. You will have to suffer the pangs of separation. Believe me, you won't get away so easily." Lord Vishnu very quietly accepted that curse also. And then the Lord just did this. He just flicked his finger, and in an instant, everything vanished. There was no city, there was no King Shilanidhi, there were no other kings and princes, there was not even Rama, there was not even Vishwamohini, there was only Lord Vishnu and Narad. Now, because the spell of the Maya was broken when Lord Vishnu did this, Narad Muni suddenly came back to his senses. And then he said, "Oh my Lord, what just happened? What have I been saying? I'm not even sure what happened. What did I just say?" And the Lord then told him what had happened, how he had fallen under the spell of Maya, and how he had fallen in love with Vishwamohini, who was the great enchantress herself. Narad Muni was horrified when he realized that he had cursed his beloved Lord. And he said, "Lord, but how could I have done that? Oh my God, your Maya is far too strong. It made me forget myself. It made me forget you. That is your Maya." Lord Vishnu smiled and said, "It was what you needed, Narad, because you became a bit too vain, a bit too proud. So I had to remind you to come back to who you are, your real self. Your real self is this, somebody very loving. But I had to let you have a taste of my Maya. so that you understand where you are going wrong. Now Narad said, but oh my lord, I am so sorry that I cursed you and I want to take back that curse. But how can I take it back? The Lord said, it's all my will, Narad. Don't worry, I willed it this way. Because of you, I will once again come on earth when the right time comes. I will come on earth in Treta Yuga, in human form, and I will accept your curse. And because of that, Lord Rama, when he came on earth, he had to seek the help of all the monkeys with which Narad Muni had cursed him, that you will have to be with them, to live with them. So Lord Rama actually, while he was in exile, he lived with the monkeys. He had his own army of the monkeys and the bears with whom he went to find Sita, his beloved wife, from whom he was separated. So all this came true as per Narad Muni's curse. Now the Ganas, once they found that Narad Muni's spell of Maya was broken, they again went back with folded hands and said, please Narad Muni, forgive us. Why do you want to send us to earth? Please forgive us and cancel that curse. We don't want to go to earth as demons. Now Narad Muni was also feeling a little sorry how harshly he had cursed them, simply because they had laughed. They had just had a little fun at his expense. And so he said, well, I can't take back my curse. I have cursed Lord Vishnu also. I can't take back even that. But I promise you this, that you'll go to earth and you live as demons, but you are going to be powerful. You are going to be so strong, so brave, and so powerful that you will be like the rulers of the earth. And people are going to respect you. They are going to have to reckon, oh, it's you, both of you. Everyone will be scared of you. You will be that mighty. And with that, the two Ganas had to be content. And as per this story, in this particular Kalpa, it was Lord Shiva's Ganas who came down to earth as Ravan and Kumbhakarna. So this is one of the stories again about how Ravan came to be, how he came to be born. And I hope you like the story. Sai Ram.